Hey there nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to another episode of Cheap Shots. And on today's episode, we're going to do something a little bit different by actually showcasing some cheaper alternatives to Warhammer the Old World miniatures that people might be interested in. I've been noticing a lot on YouTube, as well as some of the comments I've been getting on some of the posts I've been putting on my communities tab about people talking about how some of them missed out on the pre-orders, or the prices are too expensive for the miniatures they want, or they're trying to look for alternatives to the Bretonnians for Warhammer the Old World, and I can completely understand that as well. The miniatures are not cheap in order to play Warhammer Fantasy. They can be actually really expensive, and of course some people are really sad because maybe they missed out on the pre-orders and they couldn't get the box set that they wanted to for the Bretonnian starter box set, which is completely understandable. So that's the reason why I decided to actually make this video real quick in order to help out those players who are in that kind of situation. Are you one of those kind of players who missed out on the pre-orders for the Bretonnians box set, or are you really upset because you think the prices might be too expensive? Are you looking for really cheaper alternatives? Well, if that's the case, this video is for you, because your commander has basically gone through and actually looked for some research and some really cheap alternatives to GW in order to create a Bretonnian force. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the assumption that you want to get pretty much the same kind of miniatures that you would get in the starter box set for Bretonnia for Warhammer the Old World, and I'm going to go about going on the internet by showing you some cheap alternatives that you can get in order to fill relatively the same size force. Now, the ideally about this, if you recommend with the recommendations that we go with, we're going to actually help you give you an initial cost of $135.91. That's assuming, of course, that you want to purchase everything that we're presenting to you guys, and you're purchasing this for the very first time, and you want it to be something comparable to what the starter box it looks like for the Bretonnians. And when you compare that from the Games Workshop price at $255, we're going to help you save $119.09 at the same time. So that being said, let's go and talk about some cheap alternatives to Bretonnians that you can use to create your armies for Warhammer the Old World. Alright, so first of all, let's go ahead and talk about exactly what Games Workshop is offering with the starter box set with the Bretonnian core rules set that you get available to you. So this is exactly what it looks like. Unfortunately, this is completely sold out because of pre-orders, but assuming that you're trying to get this item, you wanted to get it, this will cost you $255, right? It's actually quite expensive for some of the things you're trying to get, and let's go ahead and talk about exactly what's inside of it. Now, obviously, as you can see right here, if you go down directly to the bottom, it kind of gives us information about it. First of all, it's going to consist of 76 plastic Citadel miniatures. You have one Bretonnian Lord of Bretonnia on a Royal Pegasus. You have 12 Bretonnian Knights of the Realm, 36 Bretonnian Men-at-Arms, as well as 24 Bretonnian Peasant Bowmen with 2 sets of defensive stake bases, as well as 3 Bretonnian Pegasus Knights. And of course, probably the most important part about it, you get access to the rule book as well. You also have your Kingdoms of Bretonnia edition and construction guide. It's going to help you to put it all together. It'll also give you some reference sheet as well as some transfers. It gives you 26-sided dice, 1 6-sided scatter die, 2 18-inch measuring rods, as well as 3 weapon template in translucent orange plastic. So as you can see here, it actually gives you quite a bit for $255. Now, if you're one of those players who are trying to get this box set and you weren't able to do so because of XYZ reasons, do not stress out, because Commander Cheapskate is going to help you out by getting you whatever the same materials, or basically the same typical type of materials you see here, and you're going to be able to do it at a much cheaper price as well. In fact, this actual whole starter set costs $255, but with some of the things that I would recommend that you use instead, it's going to only cost you $135.91 if you wanted to get comparable miniatures to what this box set offers you, and you can be using third party in order to do that to help build up your Bretonnian armies as well. Just to give you guys an idea of how much money that's being saved, that's $119.09 being saved if you're just focusing on just trying to get the miniatures for that time for the Bretonnians. So with that being said, let's go on and talk about exactly what we could use instead of using GW in order to fulfill our Bretonnian needs for getting comparable miniatures for our armies. So how we're going to handle this is actually we're going to talk about the different miniatures. We're going to start off with the Pegasus Knights first, then we'll talk about your Knights of the Realms that are mounted, and then we'll talk about the infantry forces and how you can go about getting those comparable miniatures. So first of all, let's start off with your Pegasus Knights. So you basically have 3 normal Pegasus Knights as well as a Bretonnian Lord on a Pegasus, and my recommendation for you would be to go with Fireforge Games Pegasus Knights, which are made by the Forgotten World. As you can see, this is exactly what the quality looks like. We just go through it real quick. Now, granted, they're not as impressive or as mighty looking as the GW products, but if you're looking for a way to save money, you really can't go wrong with this. I was able to find this on Amazon, and you can get it for about $37 if you wanted to get your own set of Pegasus Knights, so that's something you might want to take a look at as well. And the nice thing about this little box set is that you actually have 4 miniatures in this box set. You can actually have two or three of them actually be your normal Pegasus Knights, and actually have the other fourth guy actually be your Bretonnian Lord on a Pegasus if you wanted to as well. And so you can find that on Amazon, be able to get that for yourself, be able to use that for your Bretonnian army as well. The only reason why I'm using this website here is because you can see a closer picture of what these things look like. As you can see, they look pretty good, and at the same time saving you a bunch of money at the same time, and in order to get these miniatures. They're about half off comparatively when you look at the actual box set for just 3 Pegasus Knights by themselves. They're around $60 US, except in this one though you get a Bretonnian Lord miniature you could use as well instead of having to shell out additional cash for a Bretonnian Lord. So if you're one of those kind of guys who are looking for a way in order to save money, I might suggest using the Pegasus Knights in order to do so. Now another thing you want to take a look at as well are the Mountain Knights of the Realm. So let's go back to the GW version here. As you can see, they give you 12 Knights of the Realm, so that way you can make 2 lances. Looks like they're bringing back the old school lance formations that were available in Warhammer 4th as well as 5th editions. So for those, I would recommend that you actually go with Perry Miniatures. Perry Miniatures actually makes a beautiful set of historical miniatures spread throughout the medieval era all the way up to the Napoleonic warfare era as well, and all the way to the American Civil War too. And they actually have a really beautiful look on these. You can get these available on Amazon. So as you can see here, the nice thing about this is that this box set of Agincourt mounted knights from 1415, that's the time period that actually takes place, of 1429. It costs you about $33.95 on Amazon. Like I said before, I'm only using the official websites just so that way you get a better idea what they look like. So if we were to take a look at these miniatures here, as you can see, let's go ahead and see if I can blow this up a little bit. As you can see, they have beautiful detailing on these guys with the armor, as well as with the lances that they have, as well as the different weapon equipments they can have. You could easily make 2 6-man lances out of these guys. In fact, the guys with the swords could actually be the champions for a unit if you want to do that as well. They also give you a nice little look here what they look like when you paint these guys up. And so as you can see, that it's a very nice cheap alternative in order to using for Knights of the Realm if you want to. You can just buy one set of this, a box set of this for $33, and you'll have your Knights of the Realm basically taken care of. Now as for your infantry forces that you basically have 2 types. We have Bretonnian men-at-arms. These are the guys who are basically armed with halberds, and then of course we have peasant bowmen as well, which are your archers. So for those, I would actually recommend either 1 or 2 kits. I'd actually recommend both these kits. The first thing I recommend for your guys who are men-at-arms is, once again, Perry Miniatures, going with the Agincourt French infantry. That's from 1415 to 1429. And the nice thing about this box set is that you can get this from Amazon for about $32.95 US as well. And then the nice thing about this is it says right here, it says this set consists of 36 infantry and 6 knights or men-at-arms. The infantry are armed with spears, crossbows, double-handed axes, and hand weapons. The knights have cut-down lances, spears, pole arms, as well as swords. So as you can see here, these are the different variety of ways you can make your different billhook looking guys as well. And if you want to actually have some crossbowmen or some additional fighters in your group, you could actually do that as well. As you can see, they have that very distinct medieval style, that kind of French looking medieval style as well. And you can use these guys in your games of Warhammer and actually use these guys in order to use it on foot. And the nice thing about this as well is you have some foot knights too. So if you want to get the new Bretonnian foot knights coming out, there is actually another box set that Perry Miniatures also sells that has these kind of guys. And you can easily fulfill that if you wanted to do so later on if you wanted to. You get a bunch of miniatures for a really low price as well. You get 36 of these guys, as well as 8 knights on foot. As we go back to Games Workshop, let's see, you only get 36 of these guys as well, but that's not the best part about it, because the next part is your guys' archers, which I would recommend next. So if you look at here, the archers here, they give you 24 peasant bowmen with 2 sets of defensive stakes. What I recommend you go with is the Plastic War of the Roses infantry. This is known as the Bills as well as Bows build. This is supposed to be for guys who are fighting in medieval England. And the reason why is because if I can zoom in on this real quick and show you guys a picture of this, as you can see, you have a bunch of archers as well as fighters also armed with billhooks as well. So that way you can make those guys your halberdiers as well as your peasant bowmen as well. If you wanted to, you could actually just put these arrows that you have right here in front to actually represent the defensive stakes, or even better, make your own defensive stakes. For me, for example, I don't know if you guys ever seen my battle reports where I use Bretonnian miniatures. What I did is I just took some corkboard, I glued it to a plastic base, and I put some flock on top of it to make the bases. And what I did is I hot glued some just toothpicks directly into the bases at an angle to make it look like defensive stakes. It took me like, I think, by 20 minutes to make those, and I just used the materials that are lying around my house to make those defensive stakes, and they do exactly the same thing. And the nice thing about these, like I said before, you have 40 figures that you can actually use with this as well. You get up to 18 billmen included. You can make up to 30 bowmen if you wanted to out of this kit, and of course it comes with four fully armored command guys, so that way it's 4 more knights on foot if you want to use that for your expansion of your army as well. well. And you can get this kit for $32.95 at your local Amazon page as well, which is really nice. So because of that, we're able to get our archers as well as our men-at-arms. We can also get our Knights of the Realm as well as Pegasus Knights. You can get these things really easily off of Amazon. At the same time, you can get that for pennies on the dollar in exchange for that. So grand total, you're looking at $135.91 if you bought all of your miniatures from third-party guys, getting a lot more of these guys in order to fill that. And at the same time, saving you $919.01 as well. Now, on the flip side, I will admit this. You will not be able to get those plastic rulers, the templates, the dice, the reference sheet or the transfer sheets, or even the rule book if you wanted to. But if you're looking to a way to get the rule book, a really easy way of getting that rule book is just to buy it online when it comes out digitally, because digital copies are much cheaper than their hard copy versions. So that's one way you can go about saving money on that as well. As for the templates, if you really want to get access to those templates, you can just type in those templates online and you'll pull up images that are available on Google Images where you can just print those out, maybe glue it to some cardstock and cut it out, and you're ready to go. You don't necessarily have to have the plastic translucent ones. Granted, the plastic translucent ones are cooler looking, but if you're looking for a way to save money, nothing wrong with printing out those out and just using the paper versions instead. In fact, the original templates were made out of cardboard way back in the 90s, so that's actually how they really originally ran with those. And of course, D6 dice, I mean, those are really simple. You just get whatever cheapest D6 that you want to as well. So these are a way that you could actually go about getting these materials for your army to create your Bretonnian army, and getting it through third-party miniatures as well, saving you a bunch of money, and at the same time getting the materials you want to create your Bretonnian army with as well. Alright, so there you guys have it. That's our cheap alternatives that we've given you guys to the Bretonnian starter box set for Warhammer the Old World. So if you're one of those kind of people who did miss out, do not feel bad at all. And the reason why is because there are great alternatives out there for even better prices than what you normally get from Games Workshop. I find that a lot of people sometimes fall victim to FOMO, which is an acronym standing for fear of missing out. So don't fall for those tactics, don't fall for that marketing scheme. If you can't get the starter box set, don't stress out. And the reason why is because you can still get something very comparable to that starting box set, and you can probably get it for almost 50% off, which is one of the nice things about this. Another thing I'd also recommend for you too as a starting off player, if you want to get one of these box sets, is not to rush. You can slowly build up your armies over time. If you have to play at a lower point value cost, like maybe 500 points or 1,000 points, that's perfectly fine. Don't forget that Games Workshop are giving us the Alliance game mechanic now with this edition of Warhammer the Old World. So if you do happen to have miniatures from a different army, you can use that to supplement whatever miniatures you get for your Bretonnian army, so that way you can play in larger games. So don't freak out about that if you don't have enough to field a traditional army, okay? I find a lot of new players get kind of discouraged about that, so don't do that, right? Just slowly build it up. Don't break the bank. Don't go into debt. Don't sell a kidney or your child's savings account in order to do this, okay? You can slowly expand upon your army as time goes on. And the nice thing about this is because you can expand upon it using some third-party miniatures, you could get some really epic looking miniatures that you could use to actually give you the more elite choices in your army. For example, like I was talking about earlier with those Perry miniatures, you could use those foot knights to be the actual Knights of the Realm on foot, which are the more elite, heavy elite fighting options for your infantry units, and you could do that as well. So you could always expand upon your collection as time goes on, try experimenting with things, and then of course go about making your decisions accordingly. And if you guys do like this video, just be aware I am planning on doing some future videos like this in this vein of cheap shots, where I actually look for some cheaper alternatives to some of the armies coming out for Warhammer the Old World. In fact, I did another video that's going to be coming out shortly on Tomb Kings, actually, because I had actually put a little poll on my channel. A lot more people were actually interested in some cheaper alternatives to Bretonnians, and that's why I'm doing this one first. But I plan on doing other videos, so if you guys wanted to see other videos and other cheaper alternatives, please put it down in the comments box down below, and I'll go ahead and start looking for those for you guys and actually put together whatever I find and make another video. So there you guys have it. This is you guys can find some cheap alternatives to Warhammer the Old World Bretonnians for 2024, saving you almost 50% of the normal price that GW would cost you with these cheaper alternatives. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. You guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this, you guys. I will catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.